Coffee is not a bean. That dark liquid you pour into your cup every morning is not what you think it is. It is a fruit, and its story runs far deeper than the taste it leaves on your palate. Yes, you heard that right. Those dark, roasted, hard beans are actually the seeds of a fruit that grows on trees along the equatorial belt, ripening into a bright red color, and known in scientific literature as the coffee cherry. Its appearance resembles that of a cherry, or even an olive. When you pick this fruit from the branch and examine it, you encounter a layered marvel of natural engineering. On the outside, a glossy, thick skin. Just beneath it, a sweet, sugary pulp. Underneath that, a parchment layer protecting the seed. And at the very core, the magical seed that holds all the aromas. The flavor that reaches your cup comes from the heart of this fruit. Yet strangely, most coffee drinkers around the world have no idea that what they consume every day is, in essence, a fruit juice. Now, let's pause for a moment and think about geography. Why is it that the finest, most expensive, and most flavorful coffees in the world are not grown in easily accessible, fertile plains, but instead on misty, steep, and hard-to-reach mountain slopes? When you pick up a coffee package at a supermarket or a third-wave cafe, you often see labels like altitude 1,800 meters, altitude 2,100 meters. Have you ever wondered why? With warm, fertile plains available, why do farmers go through the trouble of climbing those rugged mountains, sometimes even on the backs of mules? The answer lies in a harsh yet rewarding rule of nature: stress. Biologically, comfort is the enemy of flavor. If you plant a delicate coffee tree at sea level, in a warm, humid, and comfortable environment, the plant receives the message that life is easy. Its metabolism accelerates. It grows its fruit rapidly and matures it quickly. But this rushed growth leaves the fruit hollow. The resulting bean has a spongy structure and lacks character. It tastes flat. But take that same tree and move it to 2,000 meters above sea level, where oxygen is scarce, the sun is harsh during the day, and nights are freezing, and everything changes. The tree shifts into survival mode. Because of the cold and harsh conditions, it is forced to grow its fruit slowly, almost patiently. And that slowness is the key to flavor. The tree begins storing the natural sugars and minerals produced through photosynthesis in the center of the seed. This process is much like cooking. What tastes better, meat boiled in 10 minutes in a pressure cooker, or a dish slowly cooked for hours over low heat? High-quality coffee is exactly that. Fruit that has been slow-cooked, gaining character through its struggle with nature. The citrus notes, chocolate aromas, and floral hints in your cup are, in fact, the reward of that fight for survival. In the botanical world, there are two main characters in the story of your cup. You can think of them as two siblings, though their personalities differ as much as night and day. Arabica and Robusta. Our first character, Arabica, is the aristocrat of the coffee world. It is delicate and demanding. It thrives only at high altitudes, where the air is clean and cool. It is highly vulnerable to disease. Even a slight change in temperature can upset it, and a shift in the wind can prevent it from producing fruit. For farmers, it is a nightmare. But if you meet all its demands, it rewards you generously. The most complex, aromatic, and refined coffees in the world come from this fragile variety. The smooth, fruity flavors you taste are Arabica's signature. On the other side is the family's resilient warrior, Robusta. As its name suggests, it defies harsh conditions. It thrives in hot, humid climates where Arabica cannot survive. Diseases do not affect it, and insects stay away from it. So how does Robusta endure such challenges? Its secret lies in its chemical defense: caffeine. While caffeine acts as a stimulant for us, in the plant world it is a powerful insecticide. Robusta produces nearly twice as much caffeine as Arabica. When an insect bites it, the high dose of caffeine paralyzes it. But this defense comes at a cost: flavor. Caffeine is inherently bitter. That sharpness, earthy tone, and intense bitterness in Robusta come from this. The strong industrial coffees that quickly wake you up, but are often described as burnt or woody, are usually the pure power of Robusta. So when you look at your cup, the choice is yours: an elegant journey of flavor, or simply a biological jolt to wake you up. When the coffee cherry ripens on the branch, the journey has only just begun. The real challenge is removing the fruit's flesh and reaching the seed inside. This is where another art that defines coffee's flavor comes into play: processing methods. If the farmer spreads the harvested cherries out under the sun on large terraces and lets them dry for weeks, it is called the natural process. The fruit pulp dries onto the seed, allowing all the sugars and flavors to transfer into it. The result? A rich-bodied sweet coffee with jam-like aromas. Alternatively, the fruit's skin can be removed immediately, and the seeds are washed and left to ferment in water. This is known as the washed process. This method highlights the bean's natural character, acidity, and clarity. In other words, the taste of your coffee does not come only from the soil it was grown in, but also from how the farmer treats it. So how did humanity discover this complex plant? In a laboratory? Absolutely not. We owe coffee to curious goats. Legend takes us to Ethiopia, the birthplace of coffee. A shepherd named Kaldi noticed something strange about his goats. Normally calm, they were restless, energetic, and seemed to dance through the night. When he investigated, he discovered that they were eating the red berries of a particular tree. Driven by curiosity, he tried them himself, and soon felt his mind clear, his heart race, and his fatigue disappear. This discovery spread to Yemen, where coffee became not a luxury, but a spiritual aid. Sufi dervishes used it to stay awake during long nights of prayer and meditation. What began with dancing goats evolved into a deeper spiritual tradition. In the 16th century, when coffee reached Istanbul, the capital of the Ottoman Empire, it sparked a social revolution. The Turks not only introduced the kezve brewing method, but also created something entirely new: coffee houses. These places can be thought of as the ancestors of modern social media. Until then, social interaction was limited. People either went to mosques or stayed in their homes. There was no neutral public space to gather and talk. Coffee houses became the internet of the 16th century. People didn't just go there to drink coffee. They went to exchange news, discuss politics, and engage in literature and art. Coffee was a force that dissolved social boundaries. A pasha and a craftsman could sit side by side over the same cup. This awakened and questioning public sometimes unsettled authorities. But the spread of coffee houses could not be stopped. When Venetian traders brought this dark liquid and its culture to Europe, the West was captivated. When Pope Clement VIII was urged to ban this devil's invention, he tasted it and declared, "This is too delicious to be left to the infidels," effectively baptizing coffee. Soon, it became the fuel of scientists in London and Enlightenment philosophers in Paris. Minds like Voltaire and Newton found inspiration in this very cup. We harvested it, processed it, and carried it across the world. Yet what we hold is still green coffee, tasteless, hard, and smelling like grass. What makes it magical is its dance with heat. Roasting is not simply cooking, it is alchemy. The beans are exposed to temperatures above 200 degrees. As heat rises, the water inside evaporates, pressure builds, and amino acids react with sugars in what is known as the Maillard reaction. The color transforms from green to yellow, then to cinnamon, and finally to the deep brown we recognize. Then comes the magical moment, the first crack. Like popcorn popping, a sound emerges. This is the moment the bean releases over 800 aroma compounds. The grassy smell disappears, replaced by notes of caramel, nuts, fruit, and spice. The roaster does not just control heat. He reveals the soul hidden within the bean. And finally, the last act, brewing. All of this effort comes down to those final minutes when water meets coffee. Here, the rule becomes a game of physics and geometry. Grind size. If you are making espresso, the contact time between water and coffee is only 25 to 30 seconds. That's why the grind must be as fine as powdered sugar, so the water can extract the flavors quickly. For French press or filter coffee, where contact time is longer, the grind should be coarser, like sea salt, to avoid bitterness. And Turkish coffee, the oldest method of all, because it is brewed with the grounds, water, and coffee are never separated. That's why the grind is so fine it feels like powder between your fingers. Take another look at the cup in front of you. What you are drinking is far more than a dark liquid that wakes you up. It is the biological triumph of a tree struggling to survive in the mountains of Ethiopia. It is the sleepless nights of Yemeni dervishes and the heated debates of Istanbul's coffee houses. It is the fire of the roaster, the skill of the barista, and the summary of a global effort spanning centuries. The next time you take a sip of your coffee, don't think of it as just caffeine. You are tasting history, geography, and humanity's shared passion. So take that sip, and give this miracle the respect it deserves, because life is too short for bad coffee. May your story be rich, and your coffee always fresh.